The reason why we do this actually, by the way, is P capital, because what we learned is that venture capital and founders often have a very big distance. And I think what Amsterdam Capital Week is doing this week is very good to bring together capital and startups together. For your information, I think more than 6 months ago we also did a session and we presented to startups which startups should take funding and what's the requirement for taking funding to help you to ease the process of getting funded. Because we know it's a hard way, we will discuss it later on this presentation also. So our aim as P Capital is really to make it for you easier to get funded, but also, to be honest, to help us make our life easier. Because we get, of course, a lot of ideas, and for us it's more handy to get the right ideas in front of us, the right companies which are ready really for funding. So if you want to see this presentation, thank you, Jordan, and look on our YouTube channel, which will be published, I think today or tomorrow. Also what we did, and I think it's very handy for you, we published a year ago, with the Amsterdam Capital Week, we published the funding landscape. And this will help you as a founder to know which VCs are active in the Dutch market. These are only a snapshot of Dutch VCs, so not the international ones. But suppose that you have only an idea, or you are a later phase company, then you know to which VCs you go to. Also look at our YouTube channel if you want more detail on that, because what we often do is that we get companies in front of us approaching us, which only, for example, have an idea and are really not suitable for you, and then we think you as a founder should spend your time on us and not personally that. So I think it's also good for you to look at that. Can you perhaps go forward? Thank you. Well, this is in short what we do in P Capital. We are, as you probably know, a venture capital fund. We have 3 funds. With our third fund, we invested in radiology, Nationale Beeldbank and IENS. You perhaps know that 2 of the 3 companies we've sold to listed personal cleared in Dutch listed companies. So IENS was bought by TripAdvisor, radiology was bought by Vivendi, a French listed company. With Peak 2, our second fund, we invested in 6 companies. One of them is Catawiki. Who knows Catawiki? Everybody knows Catawiki, so I don't need any explanation there. And with our third fund, which we launched last year, July, we already did 4 investments in 15 months. So we're pretty active in the investment team in the Netherlands. The 4 investments we recently did was StuDocu. I think Monica will tell you regarding what it means, so I don't have to tell you. It's invoice finance. I think that's a rather interesting company for a founder, because that's what it makes your the money you have in invoices, it makes it cash. So it's a factoring company. So if you have invoices as a, for example, ZZP or entrepreneur or a small company, and you need the money now, so not on your invoice only, and due to be paid in 60 months, and you go to invoice finance and get the money now. Media Distillery is a software company which we recently invested in. And OneFit we published last Thursday, and that's a virtual gym. So you'll become a member of OneFit, and with OneFit you will get access to 250 gyms in the Netherlands. It's a subscription fee whereby you know, one day you can do yoga and the other day you can do, for example, kickboxing. It's a combination. What do you if you look at the portfolio, sorry, one slide back perhaps, Jordan, thank you. Then you'll see that we mainly focus as a fund on a few verticals. Do you see which verticals I mean? Because we know we'll start probably.
Financing.
Financing. And voice finance, yeah. They are both marketplaces in financing, and so I think that's an important one. We will never, probably never invest in a bank, because you know when you bring supply of capital and demand of capital together, you know, like NPEX, but also like invoice finance, interesting for us. So marketplaces is an interesting sector for us. Another one which is interesting for us is SaaS, so software as a company. So really the fast-growing companies, and data. That's an important piece of our portfolio. That's really also the focus we have with our third fund is really marketplaces, data, and SaaS and data. Yes, please, Jordan. P Capital is a small team, and that's what you always see with venture capital funds is they're very small, and the team is very small. Stefan Bari, I founded Capital 3 together with, we have Jorrit here on the table, who is charmingly presenting on the, helping me out with the presentation, and Helene van Oort, who is not here. And as you see, is that we believe as Capital, we invest in companies, but mainly we look at teams, and we look at teams. You probably know that we're always looking for a hacker, a hustler, and a hipster. So you can imagine that Helene is the hipster of us. I think Stefan is the hacker, and I'm the hustler within the team. So we define that not only for startups, but also for ourselves. And I think Jorrit is our latest employee, started 2 weeks ago, so he's finding his role yet. So that's good.
Exactly. Okay, next.
Next, please. Thank you. Well, what we do, and that's now we're getting to the presentation, is we are backed, by the way, we invested the fund ourselves, and we are backed by 25 famous entrepreneurs in the Netherlands who started these companies. So they're really, you know, the founders of Booking, of Vakantieveiling, etc. These guys funded our fund. And what they did is they invested that money into P-Capital, but also they said we want to help the companies where P-Capital investing. So we are backed by these guys, and we bring them on the table with our investment. I think a few months, Marnik, we had a meeting at your place also about search, what StuDocu can do. It's about search, about HR, about the salary scheme in your case, with bonuses, etc. So that's what we do as P-Capital. So we invest money. Next slide, please. But also some really added value for the founders. Who's looking for money, by the way, in the group? Who's looking to raise capital next 6 months? Okay. And who's only looking for money? So not smart money, so not advice, etc. Okay, that's good. Because it's also what we think is that if you bring money on the table, you can get money more or less everywhere. As we all know, interest is low, so there's a lot of capital in the market. But I think when you invest money and you make it with smart money, so really help the companies to grow faster and learn from experience and to give access to the network, then the value of an investment, and that's what we really learned, is that it's not, if we invest 500,000 euro, the value will be 2.5 million euro. It's really times 5, times 10. It's very easy because what you bring on the table as an investor is experience in what you do, but also making the right choices, hiring the right people, selecting the right partners to work with, etc. So that's really what we do as investors. So what we do is we talk with the companies we invest in on a weekly basis. We see them bi-weekly, and for an investor, that's very often. Because normally I work with VCs as a founder myself also. Normally you will see them once a month, roughly, or once a 2 month. So we are very active on the wall. And that's also, if you're a founder, you should like that, working with us. Like that. Because some founders say, no, we only want money and don't give us the fight because we know how it works. And then you know the right partner for VC, but also a part of VC. So I think it's very important to consider what you need in the VC. Do you need money? Do you need the monthly meeting? Or do you need, really hands-on contact and whenever you call the line? So that's it. But what do you think after raising money? What do you think is the most important asset of a team?
Continued sense of urgency.
Sorry?
Continued sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Where you do the opposite, go off to the beach. You say, oh, the starting gun is fired. It's time to conquer the market. Right?
Yeah, so the urgency you mean. So really,
right.
Yeah, okay.
Sharing the same goal.
Sharing the same goal. Okay. Who else?
Having the same values?
Sorry, adding?
No, having the same values.
Having the same values, yeah. Okay, we're not there yet.
Execution.
That's one. And that's what we learned is that, and we learned that also as a founder ourselves, but we learned that also after investing in 13 companies, is that the speed of execution is key in the process after getting funded. Because most companies we invest in, and I think most companies here in the room, are bootstrap funded, so are funded with our own means. We have some angel money of some clients paying in advance so that you have some money on the table, but you really, you grow a business by doing small steps every time. So you're more or less to program to do small steps. And what we expect as a VC is really to make a big step. And that requires a way of thinking what we learned after investing in 13 companies that not a lot of founders have. So what we do in this session is to help you to think beyond the point of getting funding and what you need and what you can do to prepare it right now, because you are in the process of funding. Now it's the time to change it. So if we can go to the next slide, thank you. We see funding, and I wonder how you see it, but we see it more or less like climbing a mountain. But also at the same time is playing a boxing game. And at the same time, so not after each other, but so it's really hard because what we learned, and we have a few people in the room I know who got funded last year, but what we learned is you know, when you build a company, you need time for your clients, for your staff, for your product, for your people, for your supplier, for everybody you work with. And then on the one hand, you will get a new thing in place, and that's getting funded. And for a lot of people, the time of getting funded is the first time. So you can't rely on really good experience. You haven't done that before. Perhaps you have, but then more or less it's the same as a new market, because the funding landscape, as we all know, with crowdfunding, with different sources of funding, is completely changed. So it's a whole new thing. So what we learn also is that a lot of founders, they think, that's what they read in the books, they think they can close a funding round in 6 months. Our advice to you is don't take 6 months, because you probably won't make it in 6 months. I think you will need to think about 12 months. Because on the one hand, you will have to climb the mountain, you know, be nice to your staff, hire some people, make clients happy, develop your product, and at the same time, run your business. Because what happens else, and we'll see in the next slides, you will fall down. And you will fall down for a few reasons. Is one, you have funding on board, so a lot of you have money on board, and now it's time to spend it. But also that a lot of energy has gone to the process of getting funding.
So you should take holiday.
Sorry?
So you should take a holiday.
You should take a holiday before. That's the point. So that's a way. It's very good that you mentioned it. A lot of people think, well, now I should take some holiday to get rest. But what will happen in the moment that you will publish that you will get funded? I will come back to it later. That's not a good time to go to holiday. And why is this timing so important? Because it's the end of the process, and at the end of the process it's very normal to take a rest. But if you take a rest, then you will have big problems. And I will show you later why you will have big problems. Can you please... Now what happens in the process before closing the deal? I'll give you some insights. We say you need 12 months. Why do you need 12 months? Yes please. The first 6 months, we advise you to take some time to prepare your pitch, and to prepare the talk that you have, and to also to make contacts in the network. I mean, it's like, sorry girls, it's like being in a bar. You take a girl home tonight, you can wait until the last drink is being served. It's normally not a good time to find a girl to take home. You have to make contact before. We all, men and women, know how it works. It's the same with getting funding. If you call and you say, you know, I want to get funded with 3 months, because that's what we always hear, we will always say, okay, this is too fast, because we really need a few months to look at your company, get to know you, etc. So prepare that path takes you 12 months. Especially because in the first 6 months you will have a lot of time testing how your pitch works, improving your product, and show also good results. So that's a really, you know, it's a testing phase. Putting your toe in the water and to learn, etc. Build some contacts and go to events like this to really know how it works. So that's and during that, running your business, that's not very hard, because you can determine the speed of the process, you can determine the meetings that you have, you can determine how deep you want to change your business plan, etc. That's an easy 6 months. The 6 months After that, are a little bit harder, because in that phase, you will limit down the number of investors you will talk to. And then investors, we do it also, ask you for a lot of information. You want to know about your competitors, about the market, how your products are developing. You want to know your cohorts, you want to know your financial situation, you want to know the other shareholders, you want to meet your wife, you want to, etc. That's what you want. So really, the next 6 months are a very intensive process. And if you at that time have a pressure of getting funded because your money is running dry, or your business going not very well, then you have a very difficult situation. I've had that myself before. I was selling a company, and the period was too short, and I hired a guy to run the company, and he was a nice guy, but not to run the company. So at that time, the company was not sellable. So that's really, take your time to do that. Because really, in the time that you're on the table with us, we go to exclusivity and we sign a term sheet. It will take you as a founder, I think, a full-time job to get funding. And then if you don't have your company in place, running, with your clients happy, etc., then something will go wrong. So it's really hard. What we learned is that a lot of founders, they don't especially estimate how hard the process is. What we do as P Capital, to give you some insights, is we are especially focused after the 6 months. So we meet a lot of companies, a lot of startups who are interested in investing in. So that's what we do. We drink a lot of coffee, drink beers, etc., dinners. But after 6 months, after meeting 6 months, we also want to go to a deal or not go to a deal. So we ask you a lot of questions, and we go towards a term sheet. So if you are a founder and your VC is not working towards a term sheet, you should think, if that's a girl in the bar, that you probably will take home. Because I think you're in the business to get it funded. Now what we do is, one is, learn what the company is, and learn also what the company has and needs. I'll get back to that later. And the second thing is what we make during that time, and we do that especially the last month before the closing, is make a 100-day plan. And that's to prevent that you fall off the mountain, as we described before, and go on a holiday. You should take a holiday. Question here. Then you have enough time and energy to do the process. Who has a 100-day plan in place for funding? Do you have it? Yeah. Can you tell us something about it?
Well, we made an estimate for the phase. Different cash flow plan, things like that. Based on the views we have this moment. Okay. So the views are changing.
That's good.
Never looking forward 3 months in the environment we live in. But it helps you to make a good projection where you want to go and what you need to work on.
Yeah. So you describe what you want to reach and when.
The stocks.
Yeah.
And also with the financials.
Yeah.
Well, you already know what's going to the stock ratio when we have signed.
Yeah.
It's going to be in February or March.
Okay.
Which people you need to hire, which roles you want to fulfill.
And that's good that you have that, but that's also the reason why we want actually to go forward. And I'll go back to that in I think after this slide. I think it's because when you enter that process of getting funded, climbing the mountain and having a boxing game at the same time. What you will learn during that process is that this is not this mountain you're actually climbing. I don't know if you actually climb the mountain, but if you climb a mountain, you think you will reach the top of the mountain, but if you are at the top, that's the second one behind it. But there are a few things. Is one, which is good, you have an investor on board who can help you out with money, advice, what to do. So I think that's a plus. Of course, the day after the closing party, you probably have the headache, but after that you are awake to do that. But point is that when you have money on board, a few things happen. One, the people that you work with you, they also know that you got funded. So everybody will go to your desk and say, I want a raise, or I want shares. The second thing is your suppliers and your friends and the people you rented out, you always said, I'm a startup, I don't have much money, maybe you will deal with me. They will be also on your desk. So everybody is asking for money, and you probably didn't budget that, so that's one. And the second thing what will happen is that the people you are talking to, the people who are getting on board, they also say, I want more money, because they also know you're funded. And your competitor is away, because he also read in the news that you raised 500k or €1 million, so he's also away. So the climbing of the mountain is getting harder on the one hand, but also getting smoother on the other hand. But if you prepare it well and are well prepared about the things I just mentioned, then it's easy. That it's a doable ride. If you're not prepared, then it's a very hard ride. And then what you will see, as you saw in the previous slide, you'll end up falling down. But what we do and what we learned also in the is in the plans that we get, the founders that we bring, is that we see all these beautiful plans. 10, 20, 30 pages, all with strategic views, what people want to realize, and also term, which behind that. So we see revenue projected in 5 years, which is good. We see an international rollout plan. We see a lot of people need to be hired. We see everything. We see what and when. What we don't see is how. And to give you an idea, we get around 50, 60 plans a month. And we have, I think, if you talk to the companies we talk to, I think we have more or less 20, 25 meetings per month. And we see this very rare, we never see a real execution plan. And I will get back into detail what we mean by that. But so we often see that. And then we see, if we go to the next slide, we see a big goal. Big projections goal, and very optimistic and very, very good, and that's logical. But we don't see the detailed explanation for it. And what we learned also as founders of our own company, but also investing in 13 companies. I mean, we've had two companies who realized the targets that day. So we know that when you present targets that we bring them to 50% and we do your cost times 2, and then we know it's a big. So realize that presenting the what you want to achieve, when you want to achieve, you also need to show how you want to achieve. And if we go to the next slide, we can. I think it's good to have an example, because let's say you have a goal to be in 5 countries in 3 years' time. That's what we often see in the business plan. We also see in the business plan which countries it is. Sometimes you see in the business plan why these countries. So, for example, that's the lowest competition or the biggest demand, etc. Sometimes we see it. But what we never see in the countries is, okay, how will we roll out in that country and in the other countries? What's the profile of the guy who's running the companies? Which agency should I hire to get the right guys on board? What are the names of the people who are going to hire? Because what you do, if you don't do that, and you get funded, and you at that time start making profiles, approaching people, etc., it will take you 6 months to hire somebody, and it will take you 9 months to start somewhere, because the guy also has to switch. And you are 9 months behind your actual schedule. And your competitor, who became awake when we sent out the press release, getting in front, he's there already. So the biggest learning from us is making your plans complete, make it very concrete to how. And how we do that, for example, and I think Marnix will also mention it later, is we always work with, I started with OKRs. Who knows OKRs? Okay, I think that's good. If you look up on YouTube, for example, OKRs, Google, Dropbox, Airbnb, Uber, all the companies we know work with OKRs. So what OKRs is, it's more or less it's objective and key result. And it means that the big goal you translate it to yearly and quarterly goals, very measurable and very actionable, to learn on a 3-month time what you will do in the different parts of your company. With set goals. And we never see that in a company. I think for you it's very easy to do because you have especially the first period of finding funding is getting that. I think you will surprise a lot of investors like us in naming that and in presenting that and in letting them know that you are there because we never learn it. And if you don't do it, like I said, then you will fall out of the mountain.
You said a couple of times about the press release. So when the press release is out, the shit hits the fan. From outside.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so have you ever considered about not doing the press release?
Yeah, good question. A few times.
Okay.
But no, that's a good question. But the question is because the press release is so important, should you consider in making the press release, or sorry, sending it out later? The reason we don't do that is a few things. One is if you send out a press release, it means a huge boost also for the founders, for their ego and for their business, etc. So that's a huge boost. But also for the market and for their clients, etc. So the pros of sending out the press release is bigger than the cons. Because there are a lot of cons in the press release, like waiting your staff, suppliers, competitors, etc.
We also don't want the team to become lazy and say, well, we'll just wait for the press release, you know, and we refer it all the time.
So it's also sent
It's like the urgency that you need to execute.
So that's why that press release is such an important moment. And normally we will send it out a few days after closing the deal. So that's really short. So you don't have a lot of time between it. So that means that you're climbing a mountain again. I think that's a good thing for you to realize. If we can go to the next slide. Well, what it means is that's what we do as an investor is we help the companies where we invested in with these OKRs, with this plan. And normally what we do is during the due diligence time is that we make a plan for the first 100 days and define what should be realized the first month, the second month, and the third month. On a very detailed level. So that doesn't mean financials, revenue, etc., because that's what you already did. But how will you get to that revenue? Which guy should you hire? How many should you hire, etc. So really in time. And then you will learn that climbing the mountain is you can do it on a bike and it's not really a steep way. And what we learned also with that is that from the companies where we invested that they like that we as investors do that. Because we are external, we speak them on a weekly basis, so we know the company, but we are not in that company every day. But we have a way of challenging that founders. And that's also what we learned, what a lot of founders like. It's not in a managerial way, or not in a hierarchical way, but it's in a challenging way, it's a coaching way. That's what we do. So what we learn now is that OKRs we work with companies. We start with a 100-day plan. And after that, we'll make a new 100-day plan. To keep looking forward and to keep looking beyond the goal that you have in your mind. Because if your goal is here, you will think as a founder, everybody thinks to here. If you think about here, then you will get the real goal. Any questions?
One real quick. Talked about putting this on YouTube, but you've heard of SlideShare. That might be more appropriate to do that as well.
Yeah.
On SlideShare.
Yeah, we'll do that. Thank you. Yeah.
Just add that quick.
The slides normally don't say that much, but it's a good suggestion to.
Thanks first of all for the presentation. Could you share like a good case practice of one of the portfolio companies that you work with who were exceptionally well at this particular thing?
Yeah. I think Marnix discuss it, how they did it, working with OKRs?
A little.
A little?
What you did, so.
Okay.
I'm using the term, but if you want, I can, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good because they're very practical in doing that. I can also give you an example of a company who did also Catawiki, for example. I think that's a good example. We all know Catawiki. What they did the first round, when Axel came in, that all the money that Axel invested in, and it was a lot of money, it was at that time, if I recall, 30 or 40 million euros they invested in. Yeah. And with the second round, that 40 million which was put on the bank, was still on the bank. And you can say from the one hand, that's good. But what we think as investors, that's not good, because that capital is not working. So with the second round of Axel again and with LeadEdge, there were very detailed plans about what the money should be spent on, the key hires which should be there, etc. So what they did, actually with the second round, is they recently hired one of the top guys from Booking, is they had that contract in place, and the girl in place, ready to sign, until the money has been, switched to a bank account. So everything was in place when the money hit the bank. And I think that's a good example about what you can do. So you can think of raising money, thinking about what you do, raising money and taking the plans, so making the steps. And what we say is now, you raise the money, and before that you take the steps so that you at the time, if we transfer the money to you, that you are really ready to do so. Yeah. Answers your question, Mr. It depends on what you need, but normally, for example, with StuDocu, but also with other companies, we are on the table. We sit down bi-weekly. We have 1 week we have a call, 1 week we have a face-to-face meeting, and we discuss everything what these guys run into. So we discuss the issues that they have with clients, with their staff. We look at the next round of funding. We look at how our network can help. We do different times. That's, I think we don't. We look, of course, at data, and we look at numbers, but we want to know what's behind the numbers and learn how we can adjust that.
Is it more managerial aspects you're looking at, or also more technical content stuff?
Sorry, what was the
advice that you're looking on the board? Is that more on the managerial level, of how to work with business and finance, or do you also look into the business the core activities?
Yeah, we're not tech guys. We do know a lot about finance, legal, marketing, etc. We know a lot about. But the founder is really running the company, and we help them, we advise them, etc. So if there's a problem, for example, once we had a company which was always behind with development, always I never hit the target, new projects, etc. Then we discuss with the CTO how they can do that, how they can change it, and to help them and contact with other CTOs and learn from them. So it's more a coaching way, not a managerial way.
Because during your presentation, I saw on the slide the business that you have, including M4N, Zanos, which are affiliate networks, but also trading from Canal.
Yeah.
Is there any logical link between your investors and the verticals that you're concentrating on, or the businesses?
No, they're all, that's the companies which are founded by our partners, our limited partners, so the investors of Peak Capital. We invested ourselves in it, and we also attracted external money. And they're all, from seasoned entrepreneurs who started these companies like Kleding.nl, etc. Yeah. And what we learned is that, for example, Kleding.nl, I think it's a good example. This guy, who said a few companies before, he knows everything about search, about optimization, about the advertising part of search, about how you can, etc. And that's, for example, we had a meeting once with StuDocu and helping them out. So that's really what we do. So it's not about the vertical that they are in coding, but really the knowledge that they have about, in this case, search. Other question?
Would your advice be any different for startup companies that do not yet have customers or in a pre-seed phase?
Sorry?
But would you advise you're giving today would be any different for companies that are do not yet have customers or in a pre-seed phase who don't need to keep running their business because there is no business. Like,
Okay.
Would you give a different advice for climbing the
Yeah, then this advice this is really for early stage companies. Like we mentioned in the invite, it's for companies who have a product market fit, are like making revenues and more or less know which buttons to push to create extra growth. That's really this for. I think if you are in the phase of only an idea, problem solution phase, then I would suggest really go to an MVP phase, build a small product, test it, and learn from your clients, etc. And if you want to get funded, seek for funding from accelerators, incubators, business angels, etc. I think that's a logical way. And they look differently to companies as we do, for example. But if you look at YouTube, which will be published today, there's a last presentation is handling this stuff also. How are, for example, business angel looking at startup companies? And it's different as we do.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions? The last question before we go to Marnix? Marnix?
Yeah. So yeah,